Hello, it's Dave again at AFX Search, licensed investigators in Palm Beach, Florida. So what about collecting a judgment? You're an individual or a company, have a valid judgment or about to get a judgment against a debtor, owes you money, created harm, you won a lawsuit. So how do you collect on that judgment? First of all, we like to erase the word collection from the discussion of judgments. We don't look at it as collection, we look at it as recovery. The money is yours, it just happens to be temporarily in the hands of another person. Collection kind of implies that it's the other person's money and you're begging to get it back. The way we look at it is this money is yours. Somehow it ended up temporarily being landed in the hands of another person. Now it's a matter of getting it back. So how does that work? First of all, we identify where it flowed and where it flowed to. Somebody in a judgment situation as a debtor may be tempted to put that money in places that are not easy to see or not easy to get. So we're going to identify where that money flowed through, where it flowed to. All the money does not have to come from your judgment debtor. If that money flowed through other accounts, commingled with other people's accounts or other people's assets, that may be tainted money, even if some of the money belongs to a joint account. And that may be possible to collect money from a tainted account if another person was involved with it. If it's been converted to another type of asset, if the funds have been converted to boats, planes, cars, real estate, jewelry, that conversion doesn't change the fact that that's your asset. Again, if it's been tainted and some money came from your fund, some money came from another set of funds, if it's been commingled, it may have tainted that asset, so the whole asset now is at risk for that judgment debtor. It doesn't have to all come from the debtor. If the person's in bankruptcy, that's okay. There may be assets outside the bankruptcy. There may be ways to prioritize the claim in the bankruptcy. Bankruptcy actually sometimes is a help because it allows further discovery of the assets, and you just hope that they're like most judgment debtors and they make a mistake intentionally on representing their bankruptcy and what their assets are, and sometimes the bankruptcy can be voided or dismissed instead of discharged. In the meantime, it gives you good and valuable intel from that bankruptcy petition. If the intel has to come from other gathering, the best way to do it is to have an investigator do it covertly, not to demand asset disclosure. We're going to do intel gathering behind the scenes without that debtor knowing about it, so that when it's time to do the garnishment and grab the asset, it is done instantly, so they don't have time to re-hide those assets. A lot of times a judgment debtor will convert assets to other people's names, nominee trustees, put it in their mother-in-law's name, whatever the case may be. And if they know that those assets are being checked, they're going to move it again. So we're going to find out where it is, ID all the assets, and then do the garnishment once they've been identified without advance notice of that person. Look, it's your money. They temporarily have custody of that money. Getting it back legally and quickly maximizes the percentage you're going to get back and doesn't allow the judgment debtor to play funny games with hiding the assets, converting them, diluting them, or making them go away. The bottom line is that money doesn't disappear. It doesn't evaporate into thin air. It goes somewhere. No matter how many steps and layers it goes away from that judgment debtor, there may be a way to claw some of that back, and maybe even include third parties who have created liability for themselves by enabling that debtor to hide the money, to flow the money through, and not follow good practices in whatever their role is in making sure that debtor does things the right way.